Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. I have made a complete cock up of this video, but anyway. It's me, Vicky Marie, with a cranberry. I made this video. I started making, I wasn't going to go live. I was making a recording, and then my internet cut off halfway through the recording. And so what I thought I would do is show the recording first of all, and then when it cuts off, I will take over with being live. So sorry if I've confused everybody, but that's just the way it is. So I'm going to play the recording that I made. This is a recording. But when it cuts off, I will come on live. It's me, Vicky Marie. Anyway, thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching this video. Oh, I'm with a glass of cranberry today, and it's nice cranberry. It's not that horrible cranberry that I had last night. But I'm on the avatar tonight because it's late and I'm tired. And I was going to go live. I was thinking of going live, but I thought, no, I won't go live because I want to, this video, I don't want any distraction. But as you're all just coming in, I need to explain again, just in case you didn't hear what happened. I wasn't going to go live. I made a recording and I made this video that I'm showing now. Then it cut off halfway through. I think Lynseys haunting me tonight. Lynsey, maybe she's trying to talk to me a little bit. I felt Lynsey around me so much for years. Honestly, I don't know why this case of Lynsey Quiet has always struck a chord with me ever since I first heard about it. And I was going to record. I was going to go live. Then I thought I'd record it. And then I recorded it and it cut off halfway through. So I ended up, I was talking, thinking I was talking, like recording a video, and realized it had cut off halfway through. So what I'm going to do now, I'm live, I'm here, I'm going to chat with you all. Oh, look, you're all here. And then on top of everything else, I set the wrong time and date for the video. I set it for tomorrow instead of for today. So I think Lynsey is with me. I've always thought that Lynsey was around me, honestly. Anyway, so I'm going to play the video, the first part of the video. When the video finishes, I will take over then live. But I'm going to chat with you all, and that's what I'm going to do. I can chat with you all. Distractions with. Let me first start off by saying, refer you to my ticker. It seems to wind some people up apparently, but all I want to say is thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing my videos, even just sitting at home and watching them, joining in my chat, not joining in my chat. In whatever way you support my channel, I appreciate it. Thanks to all of you that send me emails, those of you that send the Christmas pictures. That's finished now. I've closed, if you like, on that now, and I'll be releasing the Christmas video sometime over Christmas of all the pictures that subscribers and members have sent of relevant to Christmas. Thank you so much for that. It's lovely that you participate. And of course, we've got this very special very special thing that the members will know about already, because we looked at it briefly on the members live last night, but we will be looking at it properly tomorrow. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. I hope you're looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of you out there very lonely, you know, not looking forward to Christmas for whatever reason. And, you know, as we say, there can be lots of reasons. It can be, you know, financial difficulty. It can be relationship stress. Maybe you're divorced and you're on your own for the first time. Or maybe you've just been bereaved. Or maybe you've lost a pet or lost any member of the family or a friend, etc. So there's so many people that I know won't be looking forward to Christmas. Could be mental health issues, could be physical health issues. Anyway, I hope, you know, to at least help make your Christmas, you know, put a smile on your face. You know, I've been doing the advent calendars every day. I'll put the playlist up tomorrow, because tomorrow will be the last advent calendar. And I'll put the playlist up, and so if you want to watch me being silly and singing and just trying to make you smile, the advent calendar has really been one positive video every day throughout December. So also, yeah, I want to thank even my trolleys. I know there's a lot of you out there, you really have got serious mental health issues. I hope you've watched some of my advent calendars, you know, for sort of things about mental health, how to get help with mental health, because I really do pray for you every day. I swear that I do. You know, you need help. You really do need help. So all of you that especially have joined my channel and give me that little bit more support, thank you so much. Got well over 100 members, and that's really appreciated. Thank you so much for that. All of you that have sent me supers, bought me a Ko-fi. You know, I'm overwhelmed sometimes with how supportive you are, and that's what keeps my channel going. And as time goes on, I'm hoping to make it become more of a full-time thing. But I put a lot of work into it now. I'm not virtue signaling. It's not even light work, because I enjoy doing this channel and I enjoy bringing things to people's attention, especially things that are close to my heart, like this. Now, this case. So anyway, I've thanked everyone. Thank you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. This case, it's always, ever since I very first heard of it, before I was even covering true crime, you know, when I was interested in true crime, but not actually covering it. This case, I don't know why, of Lynsey Quy, it has just reached to me like Lynsey's case. I don't know why. She was sort of almost, I felt her around me, because maybe I felt a connection to her, because her story reminded me of my story a little bit, and I was lucky enough to survive stalking. As anybody who's read my book will know. But Lynsey, well, she wasn't really being stalked, but unfortunately she didn't survive an abusive partner, coercive control. She unfortunately did not survive. So let's have a look at Lynsey first of all. I did do a video on this a long time ago when I was first starting up, and it wasn't very good. And you know, some of the interviews that I showed of her partner who committed this awful crime, they got sort of put up for copyright, so I had to cut them out. And it made the video not make sense, because you could. And I'm going to show some videos of him today, and it may happen the same, but at least you'll have seen it. Let's have a look at Lynsey. Lynsey was a young mum. Here she is. Lynsey Quy. She was so young. She was only in her 20s, and she had 2 children. And she disappeared. And the reason why I'm doing this video tonight, why I decided to do it, is because it's Christmas, and Lynsey disappeared at Christmas. And it took nearly 18 months before her killer was brought to justice, because she just literally disappeared. And her partner, Mitchell, he did not report her missing. Even though he didn't report her missing, it was only when her family sort of queried where was she and they hadn't seen her, etc. So it took a long time before she was reported missing. It took a long time to bring Mitchell to justice. In the meantime, while he was being brought to justice, Mitchell was inviting reporters into his home. He was appearing on Richard and Judy on the TV to say, you know, talk about how maligned he was, and, you know, everyone thought he was guilty, but he wasn't, etc. And eventually, I personally think the pressure got to Mitchell in the end. Anyway, let me tell you the story, because I'm going to, this is like a website that is telling the story, but I'm going to add to it. I know a lot about this case, but this website will be handy. I need to give credit to it. This is Talk Murder with Me, the murder of Lynsey Quy. Now, this actual blog was done in October the 21st, 2018. So there is a little bit more to tell since then. So the actual murder or the actual disappearance happened in mid-December in 1998, and Lynsey Quy went missing from her home in Southport in England. But it was 18 months before investigators discovered that her husband, Mitchell Quy, had brutally murdered and dismembered her and hid the body parts in different locations around Southport. And I think the other reason why this is just so disgusting, what this man did, is because he sort of tore apart her reputation. You know, he said she'd run off with another man. He said he'd seen her around Southport. You know, he made, and in the end, people, not her family, but the rest, people were starting to believe him, because he was, you know, there was no sign of her, and he was so vehement about it. And, you know, people were actually starting to feel sorry for him. And he took on the children. Only one of the children was his child. That was part of the reason, I think, why this whole thing happened. When he met Lynsey, she was already pregnant. And he, her daughter that she had there was called Robin. And Mitchell brought Robin up as if she was his own, to be fair. And then, while they were together, he was showing signs of coercive control and domestic abuse. But they had like this very I do think there was a love there, but it was a toxic love. You know, I think Lynsey loved him, and I think he loved Lynsey, but there was just this toxicity, you know, in this relationship, and she couldn't seem to break away from him. She tried to break away from him many times, and she just ended up going back to him. So there must have been something there. But anyway, eventually she did become pregnant to Mitchell, but because they were having such a toxic relationship, she decided to have an abortion. And she had an abortion, and Mitchell went mad, really, basically. So Mitchell was not happy with that at all. As time went on, they did have a child together, but I personally don't think Mitchell ever really forgave her for that, because, and not only maybe because he cared so much about whether she had the baby or not, but she took the control into her own hands. And a man like Mitchell, he wouldn't like that. He wouldn't like the control being taken off him. He liked to control everything. Anyway, so here's Mitchell with Robin when Robin was very young. Now Robin is an adult now, and unfortunately Mitchell, he has served his prison term that he was given. So he comes up for parole now every couple of years, and he was up for parole again just this last year, which thankfully he didn't get parole, but he'll be up again in another couple of years unless he doesn't apply for parole. It could be that way, I don't know. But Robin fights, all of Lynsey's family will fight, you know, that he should not get parole. But it's awful that they have to relive that, isn't it? It's like Denise, James Bulger's mother. Why should they have to go through that all the time? They should have been given a proper sentence in the beginning. You know, I mean, what he did to Lynsey is terrible. Anyway, Lynsey was someone who sparkled both inside and out. I mean, you can see that from her. She's so beautiful, a lovely smile. Even Mitchell said that that's what he liked best about her when he first met her, a beautiful smile she had. So she was beautiful. She had a dazzling smile with a personality to match. Her mother, Linda, described her as bubbly, fun-loving and outgoing. Lynsey came from a large family which included her parents and her 5 siblings. Now, they weren't that close, the family, unfortunately, and especially because of Mitchell and because of the comings and goings of, she would leave Mitchell, go back to him, leave him, go back to him. This led to the family not really taking it seriously in the end when she did say she wanted to leave him. And there's a few documentaries out about this, and it's very, very sad that her sister one time went round to the house and Lynsey actually gave her a note, and on the note it said, "Help me." Now, her sister just didn't know where to go with that, because there's been many times, there had been times, when Lynsey had left Mitchell, etc., and then gone back to him and that, so she didn't know what to do about it, really. So she feels guilty, of course. This is what I've said often in these sort of cases. It's always other people that feel guilty, and the actual person themselves does not feel guilty. Mitchell is a psychopath who probably, how he even lived for 17 months with all this, the knowledge of what he'd done and the things he was saying about Lynsey. A woman who he was supposed to love, and I feel like maybe he did love her. I don't know, but who knows? That's not love, is it? Control is not love. But anyway, so Lynsey unfortunately was sort of stuck with Mitchell. When Lynsey became pregnant when she was just 17 by her first serious boyfriend, she was adamant that she would keep the baby. However, several months into the pregnancy, the relationship ended and Lynsey was alone, 5 months pregnant. And this are just snapshots in time. Apparently, there were problems even on the wedding day, at the reception, etc. When Mitchell had too much to drink, he also was a prolific user of marijuana. So it's not a good combination, is it, the two? So enter Mitchell Quy, who was 3 years older than Lynsey. On their first meeting, Mitchell quickly fell for Lynsey, while Lynsey thought she'd. Mitchell was charming and constantly doted on her, coming by her house with flowers and cards. So he was love bombing. We call it love bombing now, don't we? We didn't know what love bombing was then. Now it's sort of these sort of things like love bombing and recognizing narcissists and things like that. We didn't know anything about that then. It was never talked about. So, and as she was pregnant, she would have been especially vulnerable. Mitchell was there offering her, to be a father figure, offering her sort of security, etc. So it says here she was particularly enticed by the idea of companionship. I don't think it was. I think she was totally in love with Mitchell. I think he just totally, they were in love. Mitchell seemed perfect, and after just 5 weeks, the two were. So I think this must have been where the video cut off. So let me stop playing that video now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah, this is what happened. So I started doing the video, like recording it, and then I realised when I got to the end of it, I suddenly realised that the video had cut off. So that's as far as it goes. Oh dear me! So we're trying to. This is like Jim all over again. We're trying to give Charlie a membership, and it's just not happening. But anyway, I'm just trying to see. I'm not sure who I gave a member. So I gave a membership to. I think it was Blank Faces. Let's have a look. Who did they end up giving? Oh God, why does it not tell you who it is? Oh, so Amethyst, Linda Dyer, Blank Faces, Scarlet Spear, and one other, but I can't see that other, the last one. Kieran Griffiths. So I don't know who Kieran is. So the others I know, I hope they're happy with a membership. I know some of them will be, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're trolls. I just wanted to give Charlie a membership, and even if trolls get a membership, it doesn't matter. Now, what we need to do now is go back to where I was. Listen, I'll keep trying, Charlie. We'll give you guys, this is just going to be Jim all over again, isn't it? I'm going to go back now and to where I was talking about Mitchell. So let's, talking about Lyndsey. Now, where had I got to? I mean, really, I don't even need to look at the story. I know this story. Hi, Irish Eyes. Yeah, it's been. Yeah. Charlie is the new Jim. We're trying to throw in memberships. A few people have gifted memberships. I've finally worked out how to do it because I was trying to do it on my phone, but on my phone it asks for the password, and I haven't got the password on my phone, so I had to go onto my computer while the video was going. But that means that I've missed the video, so I'm not sure exactly where we're up to. But let me take Lyndsey's. I know Lyndsey's story, to be honest, inside out. But I just want to show you Lyndsey's face. Let's have a look at Lyndsey's face. Her beautiful face. This is what we've got to remember. This is who we're talking about. And the reason I wanted to do this video, particularly at Christmas, is because Lyndsey disappeared at Christmas time. And she was looking forward to Christmas. According to her mum, you know, if you watch the documentaries about it, according to her mum, Lyndsey loved Christmas. She looked forward to it every year. She made it a special occasion. She had 2 young children, you know, so, and her relationship with Mitchell Quy, let's have a look at him. I suppose we should look at him if we have to. This is Mitchell. He was her husband. They had a very toxic, volatile relationship, you know, so it was like off and on. He isolated her from all her family, hated her family. He successfully isolated her from her whole family, and all her family now feel guilty, you know, about the fact that but you know, I know how that feels when you've got someone in your family that's living with someone who's a domestic abuser, and they come and they tell you all about them and how awful and what they're doing and this, that and the other, and so you end up hating, and then the next minute they're back together with them because this person, this domestic abuser, someone like Mitchell, you know what they're like, they sort of, you know, they say horrible things, then they apologize, and then they say them again or do them again. So this is what happened with Mitchell. So I think in the family, in the end, the family sort of withdrew a bit from the whole situation because it's awful then, because you have to face that person, and they probably know that you've been you know, you've hated them really for what they've done to your family member. So it's a very difficult situation. But anyway. Okay. So hi, Julie Dawn. Let's carry on with this story. Hi, Mal. Oh, look. Here's a thank you, Mello. Very kind. Let's see. I go and let's see who that went to. I don't get it up here on the computer. I have to look for it. Oh, Scarlet Spears. She was Amethyst. Who's Silver Moon Warrior? Yeah, I don't know if she'll be pleased with it or not. She used to be a member. She was a member for a long time, but she doesn't like me anymore. But never mind. She might be pleased. I don't know. Oh, poor Charlie. Why is Charlie not getting a membership? Oh, there you go. Is that another one? Thank you, Jean. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear. It's going to be hilarious. Charlie, I wonder how. I know, Jean, it's so annoying that you can't. Surely YouTube, I'm going to have to write to YouTube. They need to start a thing where you can actually gift a certain person. Do you know what I mean? Why won't they do that? What difference does it make to them? You know, yeah. So unlucky Charlie now, unlucky Charlie. No, Jim is lucky Jim now, but you're unlucky Charlie. But we try. Trouble is, I can't. I've got to let me carry on with. I keep getting distracted. But thank you all of you that are gifting membership. I'm going to have another go in a minute. Saskia has been a member for 3 months, and thank you so much for that, Saskia. Thank you. So Saskia's on her 3rd month of membership. Thank you so much. I have got some exciting news for members in the new year, but anyway, I'm supposed to be talking about Lynsey, so let me just go back to that for a minute. Now, as I said, I've forgotten how far I got with telling of the story, but this man, he went onto the TV. He was on Richard and Judy. He invited journalist into his home to film him at home. You know, made this big thing about being a single parent of 2 children. And Lynsey had left him. So this is why I get so angry with Mitchell. Not only for what he obviously did to Lynsey, which was probably in a, you know, they probably had an argument and he's lost his temper. Well, that's what he admitted to doing in the end. So they had an argument. He lost his temper. He strangled her and just held on. And before he knew it, she was gone. He then is what the worst thing he did in my eyes is what he did afterwards, because he then phoned his brother Elliot, who was a butcher, and got Elliot, his brother, to come round and help him dismember the body. And he displaced her body all over Southport, and her head has never been found. So that is the foulest thing that he did, you know, to me, even worse than killing her in the first place. He then also blackened her reputation by saying that she'd left him and gone off with another man. So that you know, these are things, you know, they're just, that's beyond, like, sort of just, you know, a sort of crime of passion. It's beyond that. You cannot conceive of it. It's pure evil in my eyes. So he should never, ever come out of prison in my eyes. And then her family for 17 months, they knew what he'd done. They just knew inside what he'd done. But they were sort of sharing custody of the children. You know, they would have the children for weekends and things like that. And they would have to actually speak to him, knowing what he'd done or knowing inside what he'd done. They'd have to go round there, collect the children, be at least civil to him, when really they just hated him, and knew that he had done something to their daughter, and how that must have felt for them for 17 months, I just can't even imagine. And there will have been a Christmas, the following Christmas after that. Luckily, there was only one more Christmas that they had to suffer before he was caught and prosecuted. But, how must that have been? I just can't even imagine. So in the meantime, Mitchell's just, going off his women. He's got women, unfortunately, women some women seem to find this whole thing sort of quite exciting. He had women dripping off him. He always did. He was never faithful to Lynsey anyway. And, he even made a horrible comment at one point. And he just turned around to the journalist and said, "Oh, well, what do the police think I did? Shagged her to death." This was the disrespect that he held Lynsey in. Then he said she'd gone off with another man. He said he'd seen her several times, but it was only him who ever said that he'd seen her. And in the end, actually, publicly, the public started to feel sorry for him, because he was, he was saying that he was, oh yeah, let's see, who did that go to? The 411's gift. Thank you so much, 411. Oh God, I've lost. Oh, there you go. Who did that go to? I wonder. Do we know who 411's membership went to? Yeah, I don't know what women saw in him either. But women did like him. This is all these weird men. What is it about it? I don't know what. I just don't know. And I do think Lynsey loved him, to be fair. That's why she kept going back to him. She kept leaving him, and then he'd come along, he'd do all this love bombing, etc. Oh, let's have a look. Oh, we've got another one. Like, I'm going to go and see who's got the. Come on, Charlie must have got it by now. Oh God, we're going to end up with. Charlie must have got one. No, you must have. Let's see. Carolyn Phillips. Who have we got? We've got Sue G63, Sue Bennison, Claire Mallinson, John Leach, Unity Calling. We've got a Just Me. Do you know, it's quite funny when I'm sorry, Charlie, you still haven't got one. Unlucky Charlie. But it's quite funny because when I know that YouTube gives these memberships to people who watch the channel a lot, and so it's quite funny if it comes up to be a troll or another creator is just like snooping, or because it just shows they must watch the channel. Oh. Charlie will. I'm going to give some more in a minute. I just wanted to say what happened in the end. Oh, we keep trying. This is going to turn into. I'm going to end up with about 200 memberships, and Charlie still won't have a membership. Oh dear me. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Let's see. Gosh. When we have next time we have a members live, there'll be more people on it than are on it when I do a public live. Let's see if I can find out who that one was. It's very difficult to find out who it is. I have to go right into all the. Anyway. No, the thing is, a lot of people, Rio, they don't join in the public chat. Oh, Carla, we'll see you soon. Well, you're in the members now. You'll be at the members live. I'll have a lot of people to welcome next Thursday in the members live, and you'll be one of them, Carla. I'm so glad you've got a membership. The thing is, you don't know. Sometimes people, they watch things, they watch the videos, and they're not. And some people don't even comment or anything. They just like to watch. So, you know, we mustn't think that they're trolls because we haven't seen their name before. We don't know. And we'll find out anyway. Thing is, in the members, they can't troll because they'll just stick out like a sore thumb. Charlie, you're so sweet. Oh yeah, have a nice Christmas, Carla, because I will be on tomorrow live, but I don't know if you'll be able to watch or not. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I should not read the chat, really. The chat is for you, not for me. Oh, bless. Yeah, it's so good that Carla got a membership, to be fair. Okay. Now, if I get through this story, then we can look at the members again. But Lyndsey disappeared on the 15th of December, 1998. And after that, she was never heard of or seen again. And on the 24th, when Lyndsey's mother attempted to get in touch with her, asking when she could drop off Christmas presents, she did not reply to her messages. And you know what, Lyndsey, this is another thing that upsets me. So Lyndsey disappeared on the 15th of December, but she was not reported missing until February the 5th, the following year in 1999, 53 days after anyone had last seen her. And she was not reported missing by a family member or by Mitchell. She was reported missing by a worried social worker. So, because in the end, she was completely alone. She had no friends. She had nobody. So let's just have a quick look. Well, here he is. So they called him the smiling killer because he was always smirking, always smiling. He was on telly. That's what I'd like to look at now, is this. I've still got it up there because I showed it earlier when I thought I was doing. Yeah, he appeared on the Richard and Judy show. Well, this morning. And he appeared on there. He was just all over the TV. Let's have a look and see if I can find this. Now, this will probably get picked up by...
attracted public sympathy and national attention.
Well, you know, you've got this finger of suspicion pointing at you. You've got this big question mark over your head. And I mean, I know you've featured on local television, or you've been interviewed there. And obviously the question has to be put, and I know what your answer's going to be, but I mean, did you kill her?
No, I just wish someone had listened to me.
So there you go. He said he didn't.
But you know, you've got this finger of suspicion pointing at you. You've got this big question mark over your head. And I mean, I know you've featured on local television, or you've been interviewed there. And obviously the question has to be put, and I know what your answer's going to be, but I mean, did you kill her?
No, I just wish someone.
So there he was on Richard and Judy saying, no, he didn't kill her. But obviously everybody knows now that he did. Now, the thing is, he had this sort of, the police knew he'd done it. So Jeff Sloan, who was the person in charge of the investigation, he knew that Mitchell had done it, but he had no evidence. It's that evidence thing again, isn't it? He had no evidence. So there was like this, Mitchell would taunt him. Mitchell sent him actually a packet of hair dye, because he was sort of making jokes about Jeff Sloan being older than him, because Jeff Sloan was in his 50s, and he was making jokes about it, and sent him a packet of Grecian 2000 and said, oh, this might help, you know, with your, I mean, that's not the sort. So yeah, he sent him a Christmas card and a bottle of hair dye, claiming it would cover up his greys and give him extra confidence. You know, what the arrogant twonk, what an arrogant twonk to do that. Anyway, the policeman just bided his time, and when it finally, after it had gone so long, like, because Mitchell thought he'd deceived everybody. He thought he'd deceived the police, the public, and Lyndsey's family. And so for almost a year and a half, there was no sign of Lyndsey anywhere except where Mitchell said he'd seen her. But eventually, the detective, Jeff Sloan, just said, right, it's time now. We're going to arrest him and question him. And I think Jeff Sloan felt like he could break Mitchell down. And it took a day and a half to do it. But eventually, even though he wasn't really getting anywhere, he took the chance and he arrested Mitchell for the murder of Lyndsey. And Mitchell broke down completely and admitted what had happened. And he took the police to find her body. But as I say, that unfortunately, they have never found her head. They found the other parts of her body, but they have never found her head. Poor Lyndsey. So what had happened was, on December the 16th, Lyndsey had finally got up the nerve to get Mitchell out of her life for good. And she ended up, unfortunately for her, telling him that she had arranged an appointment with a lawyer because she wanted a divorce, and that was the mistake that she made, really. So Mitchell flew into a rage. He strangled Lyndsey and hid her body in their bedroom. And then he phoned his brother, Elliot, who is now out of prison. He only got 7 years. Elliot got 7 years for covering it up, helping to dismember a body. I mean, and he's been out for ages. So if you live in Southport, he's walking around Southport, this guy's brother. Whereas Mitchell was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, but his brother was only sentenced to 7 years for his role. And, of course, now he's done his minimum term. So he's coming up for parole every year now. Anyway, this year he was denied parole again. And all I'd like to say is, I'm concerned, every year, hi Amethyst, you've been gifted a membership. Every year, have I missed any? Oh, bless. So many gifted memberships. Did Charlie get one? Because I missed it because I was off then. Hang on, let me see. He was the last one. Oh, thank you. 411 tried again. Sorry, I'm just looking through you. I've probably missed, I might have missed some people here coming in. I'm so sorry about that. No, he's not got one yet. Okay, thanks for updating me. Hi, Carolyn. So Carolyn's one of the people that got a membership. Somebody else came in that I felt like I missed there. Look, hi, Blank Faces. Blank Faces been gifted a membership. Hi, Carolyn. Oh, Caroline as well. Yeah, that's true. You're unlucky, Caroline, because Caroline is thank you, Blank Faces. Caroline is a regular viewer, regular contributor, and she's never been gifted a membership either. I wish I knew how YouTube works it out. I wish I knew how they work it out. Anyway, another thing I want to tell you, though, as well, another sort of reason why Mitchell didn't need it anymore. Is Lynseys' brother. He could not cope with what had happened. When he found out what had happened to Lynsey, he could not cope with it. And despite being a father and only a young man himself, he actually deleted himself as well because he could not cope with the thought of what happened to Lynsey. So Mitchell, in my eyes, that he's murdered 2 people. Not only Lynsey, but Lynsey's brother also. And that will have destroyed that family again. You know, you just think, how much can families have to put up with? You know, not only losing Lynsey in that brutal way, but then they lost their son as well. You know, so this man can never come out of prison. And all I want to say to finish off about Mitchell is every time he comes up for parole, I will always do whatever. I mean, I can't do anything because I'm not family or whatever, but I can make a video, I can share a petition, I can sign a petition, ask all you lovely people if you'll sign the petition as well. And I will use whatever sort of clout, if you like, that I might have to try and stop that man from ever coming out of prison. So if that makes just a little bit of difference for a man who really is responsible for the death of 2 people, not only lovely Lynsey, but her brother also, then I'll be glad to help if I can. So, okay, now, where are we? Somebody said they bought, oh, did you buy yours? Sorry, Amethyst, I didn't realise it came up. So sorry. There was just so many memberships going out, but yes. So rest in peace, Lynsey. Rest in peace, her brother. I hope they're together in the other world, wherever it is, and we'll do whatever we can to keep Mitchell in prison, won't we? Now, let me just see. So the reason why I wanted to, as I say, this wasn't supposed to be a live, it was supposed to be a video. But I honestly think I've always felt Lynsey around me. I don't know why. This case, I don't know why. You know how some just sort of, this always sort of, I've always felt an affinity with Lynsey. I don't know why, because I think at the time it happened, maybe I felt some sort of connection with her. And as I was halfway through doing the recording of this video, it just cut off. Maybe Lynsey had something to do with that. Maybe she wanted it to be alive. I don't know. I felt her around me many times. And I mean, that's awful in a way, because she's not, you know, I don't know her. She's not my family, but there's just something about Lynsey that has always struck a chord with me, and I don't know why. You know, more than some cases do strike a chord more than others. Now, I was trying to do something there. Hang on. I've lost the thing where I was on there, and I was trying to, let's go back on there. Hang on. There's just things aren't working for me tonight. You know, sometimes things just don't work. It's quite weird. I swear, you know, sometimes I think it's like Ted Bundy or Raoul Motors. You know, tonight I think it's Lynsey having a little effect on things for whatever reason. Let's see. Right. Yeah, and the thing is that that's the reason that I wanted to do it tonight, is because it's around about this time that Lynsey. Christmas is a difficult time for people that are having problems, you know, in their what's the word? You know, in their domestic life. It is Christmas, it brings so much pressure on, doesn't it? You know, not everybody's having a good time at Christmas, not because they're on their own. Some people are not having a good time at Christmas because they're on their own. For some people, it's better that they're on their own because it's like, you know, it's better than being in a situation like with Mitchell. But it probably, Christmas brings things to a head, doesn't it? So anyway. Right. Let's have one more go, eh? One more go for unlucky Charlie and unlucky Caroline. We try one more time. So Big Chris, Lynn Rowe, Timmy and Frank, Melly and Melly Fuller. That's only 4 people. I thought I'd just done 5. Big Chris, Lynn Rowe, Timmy and Frank, and Melly Fuller. Sorry, Caroline. Sorry, Charlie. I don't know who the 5th one was. Well, you can't say I haven't tried. You can't. We've all tried. We've all tried. Charlie, it took ages for Jim. It took ages for Jim, but it'll happen sooner or later, I suppose. Anyway, it's fun. To be honest, it was fun with Jim. What does that mean? Bumped out member. Let's have a. Sometimes I hate YouTube because why can't they just? So I've got all these new members, and they're probably, as I said, it'd be like last time with Jim. They'll be waking up tomorrow morning saying, "Oh God, I don't remember joining Vicky Marie chats. They only gave me 4. Yeah, they have only given me 4, haven't they? Bloody YouTube." Oh, Julie, that's the point. Hi, Julie Dawn. Have you actually got your settings to accept gifts? Same with you, Caroline. You have to put your settings. You have to put your settings to accept gifts. Maybe that's why. Maybe we're trying to gift you and maybe you haven't got your settings right. Oh. I hope it's not too traumatic for you, Carla. Yeah, exactly. So we're praying. Pray for all the people who need some help this Christmas. Anyway, I can't 4 gifts there. They have only given 4 gifts, haven't they? Let's have a look. Oh dear me, it's crazy. Never mind. Okay, right. Well, so I'm glad it ended up being alive. Certainly lots of new members. I hope they're all happy with their memberships one way or another. Yeah, I gifted 5 and they only give me 4. How strange. Wonder why they did that. Gosh. Now they might send might send me an email and say that there's been an error or something, or they might realise, but yeah, they definitely only gave me 4. How odd. Okay, well, good luck, Charlie, in the lottery. Did you say you've got a lottery ticket for tonight, or not tonight, tomorrow, or whatever? Anyway, thank you all for being here with me tonight. So let's wish for some luck for Caroline and Charlie. Sooner or later, you'll get. It took Jim a little while, but he got one in the end. And we'll see you. I'll see you in the morning for the Christmas Advent calendar, and then tomorrow night I've got very, very special live. And it's all positivity. I just wanted to do this tonight because Charlie was on. Lyndsey was on my mind, as she always is quite often, but I think especially at this time of year. So I just wanted to do this video about that. Gosh. I hope you've got everything organised. I've got everything organised now. I'm not going out shop. The only time I'll be leaving this house tomorrow is to go out and walk the dogs. I've got no more shopping to do. It's all done. Already, God, I've got so much food in. This is definitely a time where there needs to be a nuclear bomb or something. Where I've got everything in. I'll definitely be all right for at least a month. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for all the people that gifted memberships. Oh, I need to put my little ticker-tacker on now, just to finish. I like to put it on at the beginning and finish. So yeah. Thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing, being members. Buy me a Ko-fi, PayPaling, or sending me super, all the things. People have been so supportive. It's so lovely. Thank you so much. And, I know there's some people out there who really need help. And I just want to send prayers for them. And I'll see you in the morning. And until I see you again, may your God go with you. Thank you.